Listen, what I'm about to tell you will change how you read silence. There are women who feel everything and say almost nothing. They carry storms behind steady faces. Their quiet isn't emptiness, it's protection. She loved too loudly before and learned that loud love gets destroyed. So now she keeps her heart in a whisper. You won't catch her with blunt words. You catch her in the small cracks where truth leaks out. Watch the room when you walk in. Energy shifts before conversation starts. Someone becomes softer without deciding to. Her breath slows as if trying not to spill anything. She might look elsewhere, but her presence tightens around you. That tension is not awkwardness. It's a tension disguised as reserve. She won't write a confession on a page. She leaves confessions inside gestures. A lingering hand. A pause that means more than silence. Notice who she trusts with stories that hurt. She only shares the parts of herself that were broken before. Those admissions are heavy, and she picks carefully where to set them down. If she leans into your space when no one is watching, that's not casual. If she remembers a small thing you said once and brings it up months later, that's proof of presence. Watch how she shrinks from public displays of feeling. She prefers secrecy because secrecy once saved her. Don't mistake her restraint for indifference. Restraint is often the new brave for women who have been burned. She tests safety with tiny challenges. A joke that grazes a tender spot. A story that probes your reaction. She watches how you handle discomfort. If you react with contempt or amusement, she files that away. If you receive her softly, she breathes easier. When she lets down her guard, she does it in fragments. Not all at once, never all at once. She hands you a memory like a fragile glass. You decide whether it breaks or lasts. Her vulnerability is not for entertainment. It is an offering. If you ignore that offering, you betray trust without knowing why. So start with simple constancy. Show up and be predictable in ways that matter. Answer when she reaches out. Keep your word about small promises. Let your calm be the backdrop to her shaky edges. You don't need to escalate the relationship to validate her feelings. You need to be the kind of man who makes safety believable. When you do that, her silence will begin to speak. It will grow louder in the right moments, and you will realize that what looked like distance was actually a battered armor waiting to be trusted. Be patient without being distant. Let silence become a place of trust, not suspicion. Invite her into moments that require no words. A shared look across a crowded place can be a conversation. Offer help without making it a transaction. Notice the small rituals she creates and honor them with attention. When she reveals a scar, acknowledge it with care, not with solution. Let your steadiness be proof that not all men repeat the same mistakes. When you create consistent safety, her guardedness relaxes. That relaxation begins something real. She will stay. You ever step into a room and feel a subtle change like someone turned the volume down on everything else? That hush is not random. It's a person's inner world tightening around your presence. When she notices you, her body answers first. A tiny stillness, a slower breath, a shift in the way she holds herself. These are automatic, not chosen. She won't always meet your eyes. She might look past you, or at something else, but her attention orients toward you like a compass needle. The movement is slight but precise. Watch hands, posture, timing of her smile. Small things reveal the whole story. You'll sense an invisible pull in the space between you. It isn't flirtation. It's interest that learned to be careful. The nervous system reacts before the mind says anything. That reaction shows up as softer gestures, quieter laughter, hands that linger a moment longer. She becomes more present in ways that are almost invisible. She uses economy of expression. Her sentences get shorter. Her tone drops. She conserves energy like someone who knows how fragile attention can be. You'll notice that when you speak, she leans in to listen when she appears distracted. That leaning is a vote of attention. It matters. Sometimes she will mask it with normalcy. She'll act as though everything's usual. That's deliberate camouflage. She learned to make her feelings small to avoid the risk of being dismissed. So don't take her calm at face value. Calm can be the last line of defense for someone who has been hurt. If she tenses slightly when you leave, that's a clue. If she relaxes when you return, that's proof. Bodies are honest when words are not. The subtle physical signs are the translation of private feelings. They don't need a script. Her energy will also shape the room's tempo. Conversations slow down around her. Faces soften. Lighting in the space feels different. That change is contagious. Other people pick up the shift without naming it. It happens because she's unconsciously broadcasting a different frequency when you're near. Notice how she engages with other people when you're present. She might withdraw from group boasting or stop competing for attention. That withdrawal isn't disinterest. It's focus. It's a way of protecting something delicate by not exposing it to noise. She preserves the moment rather than perform in it. Don't mistake modesty for boredom. When a woman is quietly drawn to you, she acts with restraint. Her actions are efficient. No show, no demand. She gives fragments that feel important because they are chosen. Each fragment is weighty because she has limited tolerance for risk. Your responsibility is to see those fragments and treat them like invitations, not guesses. Respond with steady presence. Match her pace. Offer safety through predictability, not pressure. When you mirror gentleness with consistency, her guardedness will soften. The space you create will let those quiet signals grow into conversation. If you can read the room like music, you'll hear her notes. Learn to listen for what is implied rather than what is said aloud. That skill separates the man who notices from the man who loses what was quietly being given. When she lowers her guard, she isn't performing. She's choosing a single person for something private. Vulnerability is a currency she's learned to ration. She tests the water with small facts most people never hear. A casual revelation becomes a test. If you meet it with ridicule, the door shuts. If you receive that truth with steadiness, the door cracks open. She won't hand you everything at once. She parcels out soft truths like fragile glass and watches how you hold them. Pay attention to what she shares about old wounds. Those stories are not idle gossip. They are deliberate offerings. When she speaks of hurt, listen to what she leaves unsaid. The omissions are part of the message. Silence between her sentences often carries more weight than the sentence itself. She speaks less when she's being most honest. Late texts, quiet calls, notes sent when the house is still. Those timings are chosen. She reserves darkness for truth because daylight can expose her. She will sometimes fold her honesty into a joke or a story meant to soften risk. Watch how she watches you while she smiles. Her expression is a gauge. If you respond with impatience, she will pull her truth back into reserve. If you react with calm, she will keep testing the edge. Listen to how she names past relationships. The shorthand, the clipped phrases, the way she avoids detail. Those are warning signs and maps. When she shows you where she got hurt, she is offering you guidance on where not to step. Respect that map. Treat it as sacred, not ammunition. Notice the small blueprints of future talk. She doesn't lay out grand plans first. She experiments with tiny possibilities. An offhand remark about a place she wants to visit. A casual mention of a weekend routine. Those micro-plans are the beginning of trust. Don't fix problems, she reveals. Validation matters more than solutions. When she names a fear, echo it so she knows she was heard. Acknowledgement builds safety faster than advice. She will reveal private rituals when she trusts you. A playlist, a recipe, the poem she returns to. These are keys to her interior life. If she hands you those keys, guard them. Her vulnerability will be messy sometimes. She may apologize for crying or for being needy. When that happens, steady her. Offer presence, not platitudes. Small follow-through beats grand declarations. Remembering details. Checking in without a reminder. Showing up predictably. These are the proofs that change guardedness into openness. Excess noise and dramatics scare her. Simple reliability soothes. Be the man whose behavior matches his words. Quiet competence creates trust. When she lowers her shield, lower yours. Meet honesty with honesty. Make your calm the environment where her softness can survive. Build from fragments, not fireworks. Collect the small trust deposits she gives and add your own. Over time, those deposits form a reserve of safety. In the end, you don't stumble onto vulnerability by accident. You earn it through steady attention, respectful boundaries, and the patience to accept truth in pieces. That is how guarded women learn to risk their hearts again. If you fail to preserve it, you lose it forever. When her emotions align with yours, it shows in tiny rhythms. She mirrors your pace without thinking. If you slow, she softens. If you rush, she brightens. This isn't imitation, it's attunement. Her mood becomes a reflection, because your presence matters to her. Listen for tone before content. Her laugh adjusts to your energy. Her breathing tightens when you're tense. She matches you in simple things. Walking beside you, reaching for the same song, pausing on the same joke. Those small matches speak louder than confessions. Watch how she answers you. When you're light, she opens more. When you withdraw, her replies get short. She doesn't perform this. She adapts instinctively because your state affects her. That adaptation is a quiet sign she cares on a level you won't hear in words. Space changes around you too. She moves so she's within your personal orbit. Not to crowd, you'll feel intention. She edges closer in groups. She shares silence like a pledge. Those minutes of quiet are deliberate experiments in comfort. Her expressions echo yours. A grin from you will come back almost immediately. Your furrow will soften under her gaze. These micro-reflections are honest because they're involuntary. Indifference doesn't sink like that. Timing reveals it too. She shows up when you're heavy, sometimes before you ask. She senses the weight of your day and reaches out anyway. Anticipatory care is not casual. It's attachment dressed as habit. See how she handles tension. If you're upset, she softens her tone. If you push, she chooses repair over winning. That tendency to fix the rift quickly means she prioritizes connection. It signals she sees the bond as worth defending. Her presence changes the group's tempo. When you enter, chatter can still. Her calm flattens chaos. People follow that quiet lead without naming it. Her influence is subtle but real. Try shifting your own state and notice her reaction. Be steady and watch her relax. Flash irritation and see her tighten. Your emotional baseline reveals how much her inner life orients around you. Use that knowledge responsibly. Respond to her mirroring with care. When she matches warmth, open up more. When she mirrors worry, offer steadiness. Mirroring can build a feedback loop of safety if both of you feed it with trust. Don't weaponize those echoes. Withdrawing affection to test her will, teach her to guard. Absence as punishment trains silence. Instead, treat those sensitive reflections as invitations to increase presence, not to manipulate. Over time, micro-alignments form private rhythms. Timing becomes predictable. Shared jokes land without setup. You begin to anticipate each other's small needs. That unspoken choreography is intimacy in motion. If you want that rhythm to deepen, be reliable in tiny ways. Make your behavior a steady beat she can trust. Predictability allows her to mirror without fear. When she finally names what she feels, those words will sit on top of a history of regulation and care. They won't be sudden declarations. They'll be the natural extension of countless small, consistent adjustments you both made without fanfare. She won't hand you a confession spelled out in a sentence. She gives fragments, tiny, chosen moments that carry meaning if you learn to read them. A pause that stretches just long enough to hold a look. A casual touch that lingers like punctuation. A laugh that finds your voice and then hides. Those small acts are how she risks being seen without risking everything. Notice timing. She gives these moments when the room is quiet, or when being obvious would be dangerous. Late-night texts that arrive soft and candid after everyone else has fallen asleep. Darkness makes honesty safer. Treat those moments as confidential, not public fodder. She builds intimacy through ritual. A shared coffee order remembered weeks later. A song she plays when she knows you're driving. The way she learns your irritations and avoids them without announcing the sacrifice. These rituals test whether you can hold pieces of her life without breaking them. Watch proximity. She will occupy the space beside you more often than not. Not to crowd you, but to measure comfort. Standing a half step closer, claiming the same bench, inching into your field of view. These are invitations in slow motion. Respect the invitation. Respond with steady calm rather than pushiness. Her smiles will change. Not the wide public smile she gives the room. A softer curve reserved for when it's just the two of you. That smile is private currency. Notice it and respond with the right tone. She will give it more freely. Miss it and it will fold back into reserve. She communicates with care, not volume. Instead of saying, "I'm worried," she'll pause and check in later. Instead of declaring, "I miss you," she'll create habits that say it without the risk. Learn to translate behavior into language. Actions are often braver than words here. Reciprocity matters. When she gives a small moment, answer with an equivalent proof. If she shares a song, share one back. If she pauses to watch you, offer your attention. Small deposits build a ledger of trust. Ignore them and the ledger goes negative fast. Do not demand declarations. Pushing for labels before she's ready will collapse the delicate architecture she's building. Be the steady support beam, not the wrecking ball. Give her space to hand you pieces at her own pace. Turn those moments into safe memories. When she offers a private laugh at a joke only you two get, lock it in memory. Reference it later to show you were paying attention. That recall proves you value her fragments and nudges her to offer more. Protect confidentiality. Never weaponize or broadcast the delicate things she shares. Treat them like entrusted objects. If you betray that trust, you will not be forgiven with words alone. Guarding her small moments pays for deeper openings. Finally, lead with consistency. Momentary gestures mean little without a steady pattern behind them. Be the consistent man who matches small acts with gravity. Over time, those moments will stop being fragments and become the grammar of a relationship built quietly, honestly, and with intention. Show up for the little things. Reply, remember, follow through. Those tiny proofs become the bridge to trust. You noticed patterns. Now act like the man who turns quiet signs into something real. First, remove ambiguity. Make your actions consistent so she can stop guessing. Don't overcomplicate it. Show up when you say you will. Return calls and keep small promises. Predictability builds a foundation where her guardedness can relax. Second, create space where softness is allowed. Design moments that do not demand confession. Walks without agendas, coffee with no expectations, pauses where silence is safe. Let presence carry the weight rather than grand speeches. She needs a life that makes vulnerability optional, not mandatory. Third, practice straightforward honesty. Speak from a calm center. Admit when you made a mistake. Name what you feel without theatricality. Clarity removes fear. Vagueness fuels doubt. Use simple language to describe your intentions and boundaries so she can trust where you stand. Fourth, cultivate reliability in details. Remember things she doesn't broadcast. Follow up on complaints she mentioned once. Buy no grand gestures. Deliver small, meaningful follow-throughs. Habitual attention is worth more than flashy declarations. It rewires suspicion into expectation. Fifth, refuse to punish with absence. Don't withdraw to test her. Manipulative silence trains people to armor up. If you want more honesty, reward honesty with presence, not with games. Model the behavior you want. Consistent warmth invites reciprocity. Strategic coldness kills it. Sixth, protect her disclosures. Keep confidences private. When she shares a wound, treat it as entrusted information, not a discussion point. Your discretion proves that her interior life won't be a public spectacle. Protecting secrets is practical love. Seventh, match patience with momentum. Be willing to move slowly but refuse to drift. Establish a gentle tempo. Progress in small, intentional steps. Celebrate micro shifts rather than waiting for dramatic reveals. Momentum built in increments becomes irreversible. Eighth, hold strong emotional boundaries. Be compassionate without collapsing. Let empathy guide action, but preserve your center. If her past creates volatility, respond with steady limits, not reactions. Boundaries are safety rails, not walls. Ninth, prioritize listening over fixing. Validate before you problem solve. Often she needs to be heard, not healed. Acknowledgement reduces shame and encourages opening. Make her feel understood before you try to change the circumstance. 10th, create repeated rituals of reliability. A weekly check-in, a predictable weekend plan, a simple daily message. Those rhythms become trust currency. Small habits accumulate into a reputation of dependability. 11th, invite mutual vulnerability by sharing your scars. When you reveal your own edges without dramatics, she will feel less alone in hers. Mutual disclosure equalizes risk and accelerates connection. Finally, accept the outcome without resentment. If she chooses not to step forward, honor her choice and keep your dignity. You cannot coerce love. But if you follow these steps, you will either earn her trust or know with clarity where you stand. Both are victories compared to guessing in the dark. Stay observant, celebrate tiny confirmations, and acknowledge when you miss cues. Avoid rushing declarations as pressure. Instead, increase trust through repeated honest behavior. Your presence should feel like predictable shelter. Over months, small acts accumulate into certainty, and certainty turns guarded affection into something unafraid to be loud. Respect her pace and honor her brave choices. Comments, hit that subscribe, and join me for more.